in the interest of Aiden and Juan Chavez. We're here today on a motion that's been filed by the mother, Anna Yelly Chavez, by and through her attorney, Lorraine Lucero. My review is that that motion is that they are asking either that the case be transferred to Harris County and or for the court to consider possibly a monitored return of the children to the mother. Is that, Ms. Lucero, am I summarizing that?
Yes, Your Honor. I guess the motion to transfer to Harris County, or maybe if the case isn't transferred, just for the children maybe to be moved closer to their mother in Harris County area, or possibly a monitored return.
Okay. All right. Okay, then we will go ahead and take announcements from everybody.
Melinda Powell for the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. We're present, ready to proceed.
Lorraine Lucero on behalf of the mother, Anayeli Chavez Olea, Your Honor, we're present, ready.
Vince Nowak on behalf of the unknown alleged father, Efren Morales. Judge, I'm present. I have zero contact with my client. I expect to have no speaking role today. Thank you.
Stacy Zabala on behalf of the boys.
Brooks Barfield on behalf of Juan, my client. He has not participated. I don't anticipate he would be here as well, ready to proceed.
Okay. All right, then, Ms. Lucero, it's been your motion. We're going to let you go first. So who's your first witness today?
My client, Your Honor, Anayeli Chavez Olea.
All right, Mr. Perlis, first let me swear you in. Do you promise to accurately translate from English to Spanish and Spanish back to English for us today?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Okay, now I need to swear in Ms. Chavez. All right, Ms. Chavez, do you solemnly swear or affirm that you will tell the truth today?
I do swear.
Okay. Ms. Lucero, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Anayeli, are you the mother of Juan Chavez and Aiden Tapia Chavez?
Yeah. Yes, I am the mother.
Okay. And in what town or city do you currently live?
Houston, Texas.
Okay. And how long have you lived in Houston, Anayeli?
Since July of last year.
Okay. And in what type of home do you reside?
I live in a trailer house.
Okay. And how many bedrooms does it have?
2 bedrooms.
Okay. And who lives with you, Anayeli?
My cousins, female cousins do.
Okay. And what are their names?
Blanca, Benita, Emilio, and Valentina. Benita, Emilio.
Okay. And how long have you and your 2 cousins lived there together in that trailer in Houston?
Ever since I've arrived here, I've lived with them.
Okay. So have you been living in Houston with them since July of 2025?
That's correct.
And previously, are these the cousins that you lived with in Santa Fe, New Mexico?
No,
Okay, so those were, those were different, so this is a different family members that you live with now in Houston, correct?
that is correct. It's the same family though.
Okay. And how much is your rent there, for the trailer per month?
$1,200.
Okay, and does that include your utilities?
Yes,
Okay, and, do you and your cousin split the rent 3 ways?
that's correct.
Okay, and since you've been living there in Houston, have you provided, any of the caseworkers, copies of, your rent receipts?
I have to the one that has been coming by here once a month.
Okay, and, are you currently working, Anayeli?
Yes, ever since I arrived to Houston, I have had a job
Okay, and where do you work?
at a food service truck.
Okay, and, have you provided proof of employment, like a letter or anything from your employer stating that you're employed there?
Yes,
Okay, and Anayeli, do you have a driver's license?
no,
Okay, and do you have, a vehicle?
no.
Okay, so how do you transport yourself, let's say to go buy groceries or to and from work? How does that happen?
I use an Uber.
Now, you stated that, there's I guess, a social worker that visits you monthly there in Houston. Is that right?
Yes,
Okay, now, does she speak Spanish?
no.
Okay, how do y'all communicate?
She uses an interpreter.
Okay. Does she call an interpreter by phone and that interpreter helps y'all talk?
Yes, that's right.
Okay. Whenever she comes to visit you monthly, does she ask you any questions about what's going on in the home or if you're working or anything like that?
Yes, she does. All those questions.
Okay. And, during any of those visits, has she ever met your cousins?
Yes, she has.
Okay. And, when was the most, recent visit that you had with that caseworker?
Yesterday.
Okay. And, whenever she comes to visit, do you let her come into the home and look around, things like that?
Yes, of course.
Okay. Now, did y'all discuss anything about, your pending CPS case and your kids when she visited you yesterday?
Yes.
Okay. And what were those discussions like?
Well, it was somewhat fine, but I told her that I was going through counseling, and she said that they didn't have that in Amarillo, that they were going to talk to the workers in Amarillo because they didn't know anything about the counseling.
Did y'all talk about the children?
Yeah, yes, of course.
Okay. And how did that conversation go?
Fine. She said if I was ever offered transportation so that I could go visit my children, and I said no, that they had never told me anything about that. She told me that she was going to talk to them to see if that was a possibility for me to go see my children.
Okay. Now, recently in mid-March, about March 19th of this, just a couple of weeks ago, did the new caseworker on your case, Mr. Ryan, come by your home to see you?
Yes.
Okay.
On the
Uh,
19th, Ryan came
Okay.
and
All right. Did Mr. Ryan ask you any questions?
yes, he only asked if they asked who Ayaneli was, and I said it was me. That was being translated over the phone. And they asked if they could go in and take pictures, and I said yes.
Okay. Did Mr. Ryan have anyone else with him, or was it just him?
Y él, it was just him.
Okay. And did you let him go into your home and take pictures?
Yeah, yes, of course.
Okay. Approximately how long was Mr. Ryan at your home?
Less than 10 minutes.
Okay. Um, and as far as, well, scratch that. Now in reviewing the court that the St. Francis sent over to the court report that they sent over to the court for our review, Mr. Ryan stated that there were very few personal belongings in the home. Is that true? Okay. Anayeli, do you have belongings in your home?
Yes,
Do your cousins have their belongings in the home?
yes,
And have you gathered some things that your children would use?
yeah, yes,
Okay. And you have a place for each of your boys to sleep?
yes,
Okay. Now, in a prior hearing, we provided photos of your home to the court. Is that correct?
yes.
Now, when Mr. Ryan visited your home on March 19th, did you yourself have a bed?
I did. I had a bed, an inflatable bed, but then it disinflated. It disinflated and I purchased another bed and I told that to the social worker.
Okay, when you stated that you purchased a new bed and you told the social worker, are you saying you told Mr. Ryan that you were getting a new bed, or did you tell the worker that comes by monthly?
No, I told the caseworker Ryan. I told him that I had ordered a new bed and it was being shipped over and
Okay,
that it was almost going to arrive.
okay. Has that bed arrived now? Do you have it? Do you have a bed now?
I do. And I sent a picture to the social worker.
Okay. You sent a picture to Mr. Ryan?
Yes,
Okay. Now, Anayeli, the trailer that y'all live in, it's not a very big home, but you stated it has 2 bedrooms, right?
Yes,
Okay, and you have 1 bedroom set up for the boys?
yes,
And is the other room for you and your cousins?
yes,
Okay, now prior to court today, did I ask you to send me some updated photos of your home?
yes,
Okay, and did you send those over to me?
yes,
Okay, now, since you moved to Houston, are you aware that St. Francis has expressed concerns that you don't actually reside in that home?
I was not mentioned anything about that.
Okay, now, in addition to the photos you sent me of your home, did you also send me 2 photos?
Your
So-
Honor, I'm going to object to those exhibits. I know what she's talking to. I'm going to object to them.
What exhibit numbers?
Number
uh,
17 and 18.
Yes, yes, 17 and 18, Your Honor.
As hearsay on both, exhibit 17 has no indication where that came from. I don't speak Spanish, however, on the side of it, there is a little blue thing that says editar, and my very limited Spanish appears to say edit, which means that document appears that it could be edited. So I'm going to object to, I'm just hearsay on both of them, Judge.
But your objection is only as to
17 and 18.
17 and 18?
And 18 appears to be junk mail that is and I'll just say what it is. It's addressed to Miss Olia or current resident. So as that's junk mail, it couldn't be used to establish residence.
Okay,
And Your Honor, the only reason, well, the main reason, as you know, I'm trying to present these because there's been issues in the past that they're concerned that she doesn't live in that home. You know, she doesn't have an ID, she can't get a lease or anything like that. I know that the worker visits her there every month. Mr. Ryan went a couple of weeks ago, but other than that, she doesn't really have, she's paid cash, so we don't have, you know, anything that she receives mail for. So that's just, but I mean, that's up to the court.
In Your Honor, there's testimony that they pay rent. There's testimony of providing employment. And I'll get into all of that with the caseworker. But if there's rent receipts, there should be something with an address that we do not have, that we have never received.
And Your Honor, I believed in a prior hearing, we did, she did, I know that she has sent over the receipts to the caseworker. I don't, again, I believe, I'm not sure which caseworker, I get confused sometimes on that, but it just says the amount that they pay. It doesn't, you know, show like the address, so. But we can move on, Your Honor, if you'd like.
well, okay, then let me rule. I mean, I'll exclude the 17, and I'm looking to see, I'm not seeing what's identified as 18.
Oh, Your Honor, it's like that letter that's addressed to her or current resident.
Oh, I
It
see it
has the
here.
address.
Okay,
Yeah, sorry,
okay.
it's probably sideways.
Gotcha. Okay, okay. All right, so at this point in time, I'm definitely gonna exclude 18. 17, is that the picture of the shower?
No,
No,
the shower is 16.
that's 16.
All right,
It was 18 is probably a side view of a letter, and 17 is where she had signed on to log on for something and she had put in her address.
okay, all right. Okay, then I'll go ahead and exclude 17 and 18 at this
Okay.
time. Maybe there's something else that'll come out later, but at this time, I'll
Okay.
exclude.
All right, and Anayeli, regarding the photos that you sent me, um, do those fairly and accurately represent your home?
Yes.
And have you altered the photos in any way?
No.
Okay, and did you take these photos?
Yes.
Okay. Your Honor, at this time, I ask the court to admit respondent mother's exhibits 1 through 16.
I have no objection to those.
No objection.
All right, mother's exhibits 1 through 16 will be admitted.
Okay, Anayeli, I'm gonna go through these photos, not just kind of did you send over photos? And I don't know if there were exhibits 1 and 2 which were photos of the kitchen. Do you recall sending those to me?
Yes.
Okay, and exhibit 1, well, does the exhibit 2 show that you have food in your home?
Yes. I've
Okay.
always had food there.
Okay, and then exhibit 3, is that like your dining room area where y'all sit down to eat?
Yes.
Okay, and then exhibits 4 is also another photo of the living area with the TV.
Yes.
Okay, I don't see a photo in the photo. I don't see like any couches or a recliner or anything like that. Anayeli, have you been able to get a couch or anything like that yet?
I did. I just ordered that and I just got it.
Okay. Okay, so and I'm talking about the couch. I'm not talking about the bed. You're saying that you have a couch now?
No, I don't.
Okay,
I'm working on that.
okay, all right then. Now exhibits 5, 6, and 7. Um, we provided photos of the area for the boys. Does exhibit 5 show a bed for each of your boys?
Yes.
Okay. And then exhibit 6 and 7, also items for the boys. Is that correct?
Yes.
Now, exhibit 8 is a photo, is that the bed that you recently purchased?
Yes.
Okay, and we talked about that your place isn't that big. Who all sleeps on this bed?
My cousins and I do.
Okay. Now, moving on to exhibits 9, 10, 11, and 12. Do those depict like drawers with clothes in them and like and then close it in a cabinet that you have there inside like a closet?
Yes.
Okay, whose clothes are those in those photos? Whose items are those?
My cousin and I, us, my cousins and I.
Okay. Now, exhibit 13, looks like a washer and dryer. Did you get that recently?
No, we had that already.
Okay. And then exhibits 14, 15, and 16, are those photos of y'all's bathroom there in the trailer?
Yes.
Okay. And there's just one bathroom in that trailer, is that correct?
Yes.
Now, Nayeli, have you been going to counseling?
Yes,
And who do you go see?
her name her name is Claudia Castañeda.
Okay, and is she located in San Antonio? Or do you know?
In San Antonio.
Okay, do you do your counseling virtually through your phone?
Yes,
Okay. At a prior hearing, not the hearing that we had recently, but the prior, I'm sorry, I don't have the date. Did this court order for you to do your counseling along with your domestic violence classes together?
yes,
Okay. And the judge had, do you recall the judge ordered them to find somebody that could be Spanish speaking to provide that service to you? Do you recall that?
yes. I
Okay. and
remember
Miss-
that.
Okay, and Miss Castaneda, she speaks Spanish, right?
Yes,
Okay. And so do you recall, Anayeli, how long ago it was that you first made contact with Miss Castaneda?
I do remember. It was March 1st.
Okay. When did St. Francis provide you with Miss Castaneda's information?
They didn't give it to me.
Okay. So how did you get into contact with Miss Castaneda to start counseling?
It was sent by mail, I think. I was called. Someone called me.
Um, Did it take a while for after that court hearing where the judge asked them to find you a counselor? Did it take quite a while for you to get that phone call or that the phone call for you to start counseling?
Yes,
Okay. Now, the service plan states that you're supposed to have at least 6 sessions of counseling completed. How many sessions have you completed?
4.
Okay. Now, had you been attending counseling every 2 weeks with Ms. Castaneda?
Yes.
And recently, okay, well, let me ask you this. Why was it set up every 2 weeks and not every week? Do you know why that happened?
It was every week, except I don't know, something happened. I I told social services that it could be every 2 weeks. I don't know if I heard I told or they told me.
Okay, so who set up your counseling sessions? Ms. Castaneda or St. Francis?
St. Francis did.
Now, regarding your visits with your sons, since this court, since CPS was named temporary managing conservator, how many times have you seen your children in person?
3 times.
Okay.
¿Dijo 3 veces? 3 times.
Okay. And when was the last time you saw them in person?
Mm, May tw May 21.
Of 2025?
Yes,
Okay. And Anayeli, are you able to travel to the Lubbock area to see your boys in person?
I can't right now. No, I can't.
Are you able,
I don't have anyone to take me.
okay. Are you able to travel by bus or plane?
No,
Okay, since you've been in Houston since July of last year, has St. Francis ever asked you or offered to bring you from the Houston area to the Lubbock area so you could see your kids?
no,
Okay, has since last year, July of 2025, has St. Francis ever offered to take the boys to see you in the Houston area?
no,
Anayeli, there was testimony in a prior hearing that there was an occasion that you traveled close to the area, but you didn't stop and see your boys. Um, d- was there a time since you moved to Houston in July of 2025 that you passed through the Lubbock area?
yes. When came from over there to over here, but that was a travel agency, and I couldn't. It couldn't stop.
Okay. So when you moved from Santa Fe to Houston, you traveled close to the Lubbock area, is that right?
No, I don't know. I don't know the area, so I don't know. I don't know if I passed through that area or not.
Okay. Did you pay somebody to transport you from Santa Fe to Houston?
Yes,
Mhm. Anayeli, do you want to see your sons in person?
yes,
Okay. Now, currently, you visit with them every week, virtually. Is that right?
that's right.
Okay. And how do y'all spend the visitation time? What do y'all do?
Well, I'll put on cartoons, songs, we'll talk. I'll have conversations with my older one. I laugh with them. Let me see. We talk, we laugh. I'll tell them stories. I'll ask them how they're doing. I'll ask them how they're doing health-wise. I'll ask them how therapy's going. What what's new? What have they learned? What do they like to eat? I ask them all those things.
Okay. Now, whenever you do your virtual visits, are the boys at the foster parents' home?
Yes.
Okay. And do the foster parents just sit back and let you visit with the kids, or are they involved in any way?
Well, they're there. Sometimes they play with the kids while I am watching them.
Okay.
Sometimes they just the kids are just there and everyone is entertained.
So do they join in with the visits? Do they talk to you at all or no?
The parents don't know. I'm just focused on the children.
But at times during your visits, do the foster parents play with the kids during your visits?
Yes, that's right. And that's why sometimes they get distracted.
Okay, Anayeli, are you here today just asking the court to consider moving the boys closer to the Houston area so you can begin seeing them in person?
What I would most like is if they were with me in my home, um, which is why I'm fighting for them. I would like that opportunity. And y todo lo que qué, perdón. And everything that they say about me is not true. I would like them to see the reality of it. I would like to have an opportunity.
Okay. And Anayeli, you understand that if the court decides that the kids can't be placed with you at this time, would you at least, are you asking at least for the boys to be moved closer to you?
Yes. And
Now, are you aware that that the department or St. Francis has been concerned that you haven't seen the boys in person since last May? Do you understand that they're concerned about that?
yes. Yeah,
Okay,
well, no, but I don't accept that. I
I
don't think
understand.
I don't think it's a problem. I'm sorry, I didn't understand. Hold on just a second.
Okay.
Discúlpeme. Oh, disculpe, no la escuché. ¿Cómo? I know it may worry them, but I know my children. I know my young children. They know me, and so I need my children. So that's why I'm a mother who is fighting for my children to come back. They need to see the efforts that I'm doing to get my children back.
Anayeli, if eventually the boys are, whether it be today or on down the road, the boys are placed with you, do you have someone that can help you take care of them while you work?
Yes,
Okay. And what would be that plan? Who would help you?
my family that I have here or a daycare.
Okay.
The
Have
daycare is close by.
have you discussed that plan either with Mr. Ryan or the social worker that comes by to see you every month?
I spoke to the social worker that comes to visit me every month. I talked to her about that.
Did I know that maybe there weren't discussions about that when he came to visit you, but since Mr. Ryan or even the prior worker, Mr. Heredia, were on the case, has anybody ever talked to you about what your plans would be if your kids returned home to you?
No, they haven't told me anything.
Your Honor, I'll pass the witness.
All right. So Ms. Powell, are you gonna question, or is Ms. Walker, Mr. Walker?
I will.
Okay, all right, Ms. Powell, go ahead.
Thank you, Judge. Ms. Chavez, let's talk about your living situation, okay? Ms. Chavez, you say you have lived in that trailer since July of 2025?
Yes,
Okay. Did you sent the picture of the kitchen table, is that correct?
correct.
Is it your testimony there are 3 people living in the house?
Yes,
There's 2 chairs at that kitchen table, correct?
yes, correct.
Where do you all sit to eat?
At the table. Or sometimes. O
You
a
would
veces qué? Or sometimes, or sometimes at the bed. It depends.
When did you get the bed?
The other day, when Adrian came, he brought the bed to me. I told him that I had a shipment, that I was going to receive a bed by shipment.
Did you receive the bed by shipment or did somebody bring it to you?
Someone brought it to me.
So the statement you were getting it shipped was inaccurate.
It's the same. Someone brought it to me. In other words, it's a shipment. It's the same thing.
Ms. Chavez, you did not get that bed until after Mr. Ryan visited, is that correct?
Yes,
Did you show Mr. Ryan a blow-up mattress?
no, because I had already trashed it.
So where were you sleeping between the time that you trashed the blow-up mattress and the time you got the bed?
The bed arrived almost immediately after,
What day did the bed arrive?
on Monday.
Yesterday?
No, not yesterday. Yesterday, I sent the pictures to Ryan, to Mr. Ryan, and then when I received that visit, then shortly afterwards, I got the bed, and I sent the pictures afterwards.
How old are your 2 cousins that you report live with you?
Tiene 29.
29, and the other one is 22.
Ms. Chavez, how old are you?
Tiene 29.
Blanca is 29. Vale y Dale is 22.
And how old are you?
25.
And Ms. Chavez, all 3 of you are sleeping on that little bed?
It's not small. It's wide. And yes, that's correct.
Ms. Chavez, picture 1 of your refrigerator here. Did you send that picture to Ms. Lucero?
Claro, así es.
Yes, that's correct.
When did you decorate the refrigerator?
La trabajadora social tiene fotos
The
de
social worker has pictures. I didn't decorate anything. I always have food in it. I purchase food every week.
Objection, non-responsive.
All right, I'll sustain, but maybe clarify your question. Maybe we've lost in translation somehow.
Ms. Chavez, on picture 1 that you submitted, there appear to be stickers or pictures on the door of the refrigerator. Do you see those?
Yes,
When did you put those on the refrigerator?
compré yo el
when I cuando compré qué? When I purchased the books for my children, I had stickers and I put them on during this week.
Ms. Chavez, down on Exhibit 11, there is a dresser and there appears to be a picture of the 2 boys on the dresser. Do you see that?
Yes,
When did you add the picture to the dresser?
pues, cuando viene
after when Ryan came, I decorated that room after I put the pictures there because I went to Walmart.
Ms. Chavez, is it fair to say that you have not really prepared this house until just within the last week or so?
tenía todo
I had everything. I had everything. All I did was decorate with things, with more things that I want to purchase, that I also want to purchase for my children. Uh, pero no tiene que? Or are you saying that I don't have a right to decorate a little more?
Ms. Chavez, you had everything except for a bed, correct?
Yes, I
You
had
had-
everything.
You had everything except for 3 places for 3 people to sit, correct?
Yes, everything.
And you decided to start decorating within the last week, correct?
No, I mean, it- that's just me. I buy small items.
Objection, non-responsive.
All right, sustain.
Ms. Chavez, who was the man that dropped you off yesterday?
Could you ask the question again?
You testified that the worker from Houston you visited with the worker from Houston yesterday, correct?
Yes, sorry.
Who was the man that dropped you off at the trailer when the worker was there?
me dijo en la calle.
What do you mean that dropped me off at the trailer? Um, w- uh, uh, the person that dropped me off was my female cousin in a black car.
It's your testimony it was not a man?
It was not.
Now, you testified that you have seen your children 3 times in person. Is that your testimony?
Yes,
Isn't it more accurate you have seen your children 1 time since this case started?
no, it's 3 times. It was when they were taken, then I was immediately given an appointment to see them, and I could see them when they were very small. And then when I saw my son at another place because they had him at another place, and then on May 21st.
So you're counting the time immediately following removal as seeing your children.
Yes, yes, because it was a
Objection
visit.
unresponsive.
Overall, I'm
Objeción,
gonna let her finish her
improcedente.
answer.
Voy a dejar que ella acabe su respuesta. Continúe. Yeah, that was it.
So the first 2 visits that you're counting were before you left the Amarillo area, correct?
Yeah. No, I had already left Amarillo. Hey, Judge. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, Your Honor. Can I have like maybe a 3, 4, 5 minute break because I'm having trouble pausing, muting. I don't want echoes, and we're missing. There's a little lag where we're missing translations because I'm not finishing.
Okay.
Momento. May I have a 3 minute, 5 minute break?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I'm gonna get some other headphones.
Okay, yeah.
And I'm
Everybody-
sorry, Mr. Perales, you can tell me to slow down.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that's fine. We'll just, everybody take a quick break. Okay, are we ready?
Ms. Chavez, I'm going back to visitation, okay?
Yes,
Ms. Chavez, you saw the boys right after, saw when they were removed, correct?
that is correct.
Okay, so that would have been around December 19th or so of 2024, correct?
Yes,
Okay, and then you had your second visit about 3 days later, which would have been right before Christmas of 2024. Is that correct?
yes,
Okay. And then the next time you saw these children was May 21st of 2025 in Lubbock. Is that correct?
yes,
Were you then offered visits in November of 2025?
I'm sorry, I didn't. Yes,
Did St. Francis offer to transport you for those visits?
no,
Ms. Chavez, you testified that you paid somebody to move you from Santa Fe to Houston. Is that correct?
yes, correct.
Is there a reason you could not pay somebody to bring you to Lubbock to see your children?
Could you repeat that question, please? I'm sorry, the phone disconnected.
Is there a reason you could not pay somebody to transport you to Lubbock to see your children?
When when I was when I was coming here, or when I was coming going over there, or when are you what time period are you referring to?
At any time during the course of the case.
Well, I don't have anyone to take me.
Is there a reason you could not pay somebody?
I can, but r- right now I can't leave because of immigration. And perdón? And right now I can't find anyone to take me right now.
Ms. Chavez, you say you can't leave because of immigration, but when you moved from Santa Fe to Houston, you were here illegally then too. Is that correct?
Yes,
Okay.
but
Objection not
Erica said
responsive for anything after but.
objeción.
Sustained. You can ask another question.
Thank you, Judge. Ms. Chavez, how old is Aiden?
One-year-old.
And you have not held him in your arms since May 21st of 2025. Is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
Your testimony is that during visitation, you ask a 1-year-old and a 2-year-old how therapy is going.
No, I asked Wanda, and she would talk to the to the girls.
Okay, so you're asking placement how the children are doing, correct?
That's correct. Yes. I asked Wanda, and Wanda was translating for me while I talked to them, the person that was supervising the call.
So what kind of interaction do you have with a 1-year-old and a 2-year-old over Zoom videos?
Well, um, I talked to them. I I showed them how their room is going. I showed them the cartoons that they like, and I know that they're small and they don't understand me, but I tell them, "How are you? How are you, uh, papi? May you be blessed." I say things that I know they don't understand yet, but I try to keep them focused or entertained on me.
Ms. Shaw, are we ready, Richard? Sorry. Okay. Ms. Chavez, would you agree that your children know the foster mother more than they know you?
No.
Ms. Chavez, who has been responsible for putting your children to bed for the last 15 months?
The girls have. The women have.
Who has been responsible for taking your children to the doctor for the last 15 months?
Well, the women. But if I was there,
Objection,
well, then
non-responsive.
Sustained. Mr. Prowse, if you'll instruct her to listen carefully what she's asking.
Ms. Chavez, you understand you tested positive for methamphetamine when when Aiden was born, is that correct?
Yes,
Have you told your therapist that you tested positive for methamphetamine?
yes.
I passed the witness.
All right. Mr. Barfield, you have any question?
No questions, Your Honor.
And Mr. Nowak?
No questions, Judge. Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Zavala.
Ms. Chavez, you stated earlier that Adrian came and brought the bed, that he brought it to you. Who is Adrian?
No, no, no. I didn't say that. What I said was that I told Ryan, when they brought me my bed. Ryan.
So earlier, when I wrote down Adrian came and brought the bed, he brought it to me. Who were you talking about?
What was that question, Miss Sabala?
I wrote down Adrian came and brought the bed, he brought it to me. So who brought the bed to you?
No, I didn't say that. What I said is I didn't mention Adrian. Maybe it was misinterpreted. I didn't say Adrian. I didn't say that name.
Okay. Who brought you the bed?
Well, the people that shipped the bed are the people who brought me the bed.
Like UPS or FedEx or the post office?
No, it was a marketing.
I don't understand her answer. Can she explain to me better?
It was through internet.
Okay. Like she ordered it from a company on the internet?
No.
Okay. All right, Ms. Powell, go ahead.
Wait, oh, sorry, Your Honor, I have some additional
Oh, I'm
questions.
sorry, Stacy. I meant
No,
you.
that's okay.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean Ms. Powell. I meant you.
Who is the owner of the male clothing that was in the trailer in January?
That's ours. We're the ones we use all kinds of clothes. We work.
When the LPS worker came out in January, did they ask you whose things are these male toiletries? Who do they belong to?
If they asked me, no, they didn't ask me that. They didn't, of course they didn't ask me any of that.
I want to make sure I understand. Because I believe at one point you testified that you were never offered transportation to a visit. And at another point, you said that you couldn't leave the area. Were there in-person visits that were offered and scheduled for you?
They did. They did offer them, but they didn't offer transportation.
Could you go, or would you be willing to go to in-person visits if transportation was offered?
Yes, of course.
I pass the witness.
All right, Ms. Lucero?
Thank you, Your Honor. Anayeli, I'm gonna try to clarify your new bed situation. Who did you buy your bed from? I know you said on the internet. Did you buy it from a company? Did you buy it from a person? Did you buy it from like a Facebook page? Who did you buy it from?
Right. Facebook from the application marketplace where they publish things to buy and they bring you a bed.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. That's
And
right.
so I guess you went on Facebook Marketplace, you paid for, uh, you said you'd buy the bed. And so who brought the bed to your house?
The owner and the girl. It was two people.
Okay. So the folks that sold you the bed, delivered it to you?
Yes. It was not it was not set up. I had to set it up myself, but it was brand new.
All right. Now, just to clarify, the visit in November that St. Francis was trying to set up for you to come and see your boys, they gave you a date for that visit. Is that right?
Yes. Of
Okay.
course. Yes.
But they didn't offer to come pick you up and bring you. Is that right?
No.
Okay, no, they didn't offer, or no, or what do you mean by that?
No, they didn't offer.
Okay. Now, as far as what Ms. Zavala was asking you about, the men's clothing, and you replied that y'all use just different like clothes. Are you talking about like men's shirts or jeans and things like that that y'all wear to work, or what did you mean by that?
So we use, for example, sometimes we like to use wide clothes because it looks more like it looks more masculine, right? But it's because of work, because I work at a taco shop, and so we use that clothes. I'm not going to use new clothes or fairly new clothes, and so I use clothes that's a little wider, just a little wider. It's a little more comfortable.
Now, whenever you visited your boys in May of 2025, and then you haven't visited them since. Has the immigration situation here in the country affected you being able to travel?
Yes, yes, because I'm the only one who is able to fight for my children. And I was told,
Objection,
I was,
non-responsive. Or narrative.
All right. She'll have her, let her know, her attorney will have a chance to ask her follow-up questions. Just answer what's asked.
Okay, Anayeli, you were gonna say, well, let me ask you, are there concerns that if you were to travel here, that immigration could get involved and then you'd have a more difficult time having your kids return to you?
Objection, speculation.
Well, she can discuss what her fear is.
Yeah, I'm gonna overrule. I'm gonna let her answer it.
well, yes, I am worried because if I'm picked up by immigration, who is going to fight for my children? And that is a problem because once you're in Mexico, you can't do anything.
Now, you were asked, who's been taking care of your kids for the last 15 months? Who's been taking them to the doctor? Do you remember those questions?
Yes.
Okay. If your kids would be closer to you, I mean, as far as being physically closer, move to the Houston area closer to you, would you then be able to attend doctor's appointments with them and see them on a regular basis?
Yes. Of course. Yes.
I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
Ms. Powell?
I have no questions, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Barfield?
No questions, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Nowak?
No questions, Judge. Thank you.
All right, Ms. Zavala?
No further questions.
All right, Ms. Lucero?
Your Honor, I'd call
witnesses?
Sean Ryan.
All right, Mr. Ryan, if you'll raise your right hand for me, you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you'll give today will be the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You may proceed.
Thank you. Mr. Ryan, you're the current caseworker on this case, or I should say permanency specialist, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, and when did you take the case over? Was it handed over to you?
I believe in December, January. Can't remember specifically.
Okay, and how often do you speak to Ms. Chavez by phone or email?
A couple times a month, roughly.
Okay. And then most of the contact that y'all have regarding how she's doing over there, how things look over there, things like that, is through the LPS worker, is that right?
Through the LPS, yes, ma'am. And then a few times I've had a translator here that speaks Spanish as well. Facilitate a conversation between us.
Right, but just to clarify regarding like eyes on a situation, it's the LPS worker in the Houston area, right?
Correct.
Okay, and what is his or her name? I believe it's a
Yeah,
she.
it's Montre Harris.
Okay. All right. Now, as far as Ms. Chavez's services, she has completed services during this case, is that right?
No.
So your testimony today is that she has not completed any services?
She's completed like parenting. I think that's about it, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. Is part of her service plan that she's supposed to have stable housing?
Correct.
And she's lived at that place since July of 2025, correct?
Correct.
Okay. She's supposed to have employment for at least 6 months. She's testified, and I believe y'all verified that she's had her job now since July of 2025, correct?
I have not received pay stubs, no ma'am, but she
Okay.
has reported that she does have that job. Correct.
Okay, and so in looking through your the case file from I guess the prior worker, it's been testified to before that like an employment letter or a letter from her employer is in there stating that that she does work there and what her pay is. Have you had a chance to look at that or not yet?
That was the previous worker, no ma'am. I have not received anything like that.
But I mean, would it, if the previous worker testified that he received that, would that be in y'all's file? That's my question.
I'm not sure if he's received it or not. I can't testify for him.
Okay. All right. Now, as far as Miss Powell asked Miss Chavez earlier that when the case first started, she was positive for methamphetamine. Do you recall that?
Yes, ma'am. I recall.
Okay. But since that time, she's tested negative on all her tests. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then there was at one point she was going to be required to do, I believe, an OSAR evaluation. But then that was no longer, the court decided that we needed to focus just on her counseling and domestic violence issues. Is that right?
Correct.
And you stated that she has finished her parenting.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And so, and she whenever she's needed to drug screen, she has drug screen. So what she's working on now is her individual counseling, right?
Counseling, yes, ma'am. Waive. She needs some form of her own transportation and provide me with some pay stubs as well.
Okay. And I guess maybe you may not be familiar with the background of the case. I believe that the judge was going to, like I said, the WAVE program was going to be combined with her counseling with Miss Castaneda. Do you understand
Correct.
that?
And I talked to Miss Castaneda and she told me that she has not began that yet. No, ma'am.
Okay. But that's going to be part of the counseling, right?
It will. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. And then as far as her, we talked about her being unable to provide you with paycheck stubs, and you understand that situation, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And as far as a vehicle, you heard her testify that she doesn't have a driver's license and she doesn't have a car, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And you understand the basis as to why she cannot have a driver's license. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So even though she's legally cannot get a driver's license, is it the department's position that she needs to get one before the kids can be returned to her?
Yes, I believe our worry would be how she would transport the kids to where they need to be at all times. What if, we don't have a plan of her transportation plan and how that would go about. What if the person that she does have that normally transport her isn't available? That's a concern for us.
All
So
right.
yeah,
And you've heard her testify that she depends on Uber and paying people for rides. You heard that, right?
correct. Yes, ma'am.
And then in your role as a permanency specialist, is this the first time you've ever ran across a case that a parent doesn't drive and has to depend on others?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question one more time, please?
Okay. Is this the first case in your experience with CPS or the department that that a parent doesn't drive or doesn't have a driver's license?
It's not the first time, no, ma'am.
Okay. And in those cases, were children returned back to parents that don't have a driver's license?
Not in all cases, no, ma'am.
But in some?
Correct.
Okay. Now you stated, I read your report and you stated that you went to the home, but it didn't seem like it had very many personal belongings of anyone. Or I don't want to misquote you. Let me look real quick here. Well, sorry.
No worries.
Oh, I'm sorry, I had it marked. Now I can't find it because I have everything marked. But would you agree with me that in your report, you stated that it didn't seem like the home had very many personal belongings.
Of hers in particular, yes, ma'am, that's correct.
Okay, but you only asked, you didn't ask her, hey, where are your things? Where are your clothes? You didn't, I mean, did you ask her?
I did. I asked her where her bed was. I asked her where she was sleeping because there was no bed. The only beds that there was were the bed for the children.
And I understand that, but I'm just talking, it says, I found it says, there were very few personal belongings in the home, nothing for the children other than their beds. Do you recall that, putting that in your report?
Correct. Yeah, yes, ma'am.
Okay, but you provided, I guess, pictures to Ms. Powell and she's, I know she hasn't, they haven't been admitted, but you've seen the exhibits that we presented and the court admitted into evidence, right?
I have, yes, ma'am.
Okay, and would you agree with me that there's more than beds there in the home for the boys? I mean, there's toys, there's like a play mat. I mean, there's all sorts of things for the kids. Wouldn't you agree?
Correct. Toys and such, yes, ma'am. But clothes, no, ma'am. I did not
Okay.
see any of those. Yeah.
But at this time, the department back in August of 2025, y'all changed the goal to termination, right? I mean,
Correct.
and maybe it might have been before your time, but right
Correct.
now the goal's termination, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so would you agree with me that Ms. Chavez doesn't know if her kids will be ever be returned to her, or if they will, when that'll be? So to be buying clothes right now, they may outgrow it before they get there?
Potentially, but I mean, they could outgrow their beds that they currently have as well. So I don't think that would be fair to say.
So you think she should just go ahead and buy clothes now for a 1-year-old and a 2-year-old, not knowing when they're gonna come home?
To prepare for reunification, and any goals can change possibly at any time as well. I might add, that just needs to be staffed. So I would prepare.
Okay. Let me
Mhm.
ask you this, currently the children, and you may or may not know, but currently the children are in placement with these folks in Lubbock, Texas, right?
Yes, ma'am. I'm familiar with that.
Okay, and I guess one of the children was placed before the other children, but in early May, both kids will have been there a year. Is that right?
That's right.
Okay. And at that point, and the reason I ask you this, because it says that in your report that those foster parents are willing to adopt, right?
Correct.
Okay. And so if they stay in the case, the kids stay with them until the early May, then they could file to intervene in this case, right?
Objection, relevance.
Overruled.
Correct.
Okay. And so has this case at any time since Ms. Chavez has been working, has a home, doing what she can to see her kids virtually, at any time have y'all staffed for possible reunification with Ms. Chavez?
The goals have not changed currently, no, ma'am.
Okay. Now, also in your report, it states an update on the visits, how the visits go, and how Ms. Chavez interacts with the children. Who do you get that information from?
The visitation notes by the visit monitor and the current placement.
And so the current placements stated that, or whether it be current placement or the visitation notes, it states that Ms. Chavez just turns on the cartoons and doesn't interact with the children. Do you recall that being in your
That's a
report?
couple of scenarios, not every single time, but
And who provided that information to you, specifically that?
the placement.
Okay, the same placement that wants to adopt these children, am I right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, because have you ever monitored any of the visits?
I have not yet, no, ma'am.
Have any of your supervisors ever supervised any of the visits?
I don't believe so, no, ma'am.
So a lot of this is based on what placement who wants to adopt these kids is telling y'all is going on in the visits, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And we take them at their word, or y'all take them at their word?
Objection,
Not all.
argumentative.
Sustained.
Let me ask you this, Mr. Ryan. When placement shares this information with you, do you believe them? I mean, you put it in your report, so do you believe them if it's in your
I was just
report?
reporting what was told to me.
Did y'all, did the department or did you, receive I guess, a letter from Miss Castaneda? The
I'm
counsel?
sorry. What did you say, ma'am?
Did y'all receive a letter, a summary letter from Miss Castaneda?
We did, yes, ma'am.
Okay, were I guess both y'all and me hoping that she would be able to be present today,
Correct,
but she was unavailable?
correct.
Okay. Have you reviewed that letter?
I have.
Okay. And, does it, does she convey that their work, that her and Anayeli are getting to know each other and Anayeli's opening up and things like that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Would the department, be willing to transport, Anayeli from Houston to Lubbock to visit her children?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And what is it, you know, we're here today asking that either the case be transferred or a monitored return, which we know that's probably the last case scenario that we would get, but at least to move placement of the children closer to their mom. What's the department's position on that?
We wouldn't feel comfortable moving the children considering this is kind of all the only people that they really do know. So moving them to another placement, I feel like would be pretty traumatic for them.
Well, let me ask you this, Mr. Ryan. The department removes kids for various reasons from their parents, from folks that they've only ever known, into a foster placement, sometimes in the middle of the night or in the evening or early hours. And what I guess I'm wondering why that would be, is that trauma as traumatizing as what y'all are concerned about would happen to these kids if they were moved? I guess I'm confused on that.
Also, there is also too many questions that we have for mom. We the department doesn't feel like she's being completely truthful with her current situation.
Okay, and let me ask you this. So if the case were to be transferred to Harris County, and then maybe that Miss Harris, the LPS worker, it might be somebody else, then y'all could have eyes on Miss well, not y'all anymore, but it'd be the caseworkers over there could have eyes on Miss Chavez and help
Yes.
alleviate a lot of these concerns. Would you agree with me?
Yes. We aren't opposed to the case being transferred.
Okay, I appreciate you telling me that. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll pass the witness.
Okay, Ms. Powell, any questions?
Mr. Ryan, Miss Lucero did refer to some exhibits previously that you had provided. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And those are marked exhibits 1 through 10. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And are those pictures that you took of the home when you visited?
I did.
When did you visit the home?
It was is it the 17th? Let me check my calendar real quick. Give me 1 second. It was no, I apologize. The 15th, Sunday.
Of March?
Correct. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And have you had the opportunity to review these pictures?
I have.
Are they true and accurate copies of the pictures?
The ones that I took?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Have they been altered in any way?
No.
I'd ask to enter exhibits 1 through 10 into evidence at this time. I guess department's exhibits, I didn't mark on that, but
Any objection?
No objection.
No objection.
All right, petitioners 1 through 10 will be admitted.
And Mr. Ryan, I'm not gonna beat a dead horse on this. You've had the opportunity to review the pictures that Ms. Chavez provided today, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am, I have.
Okay, and would it be fair to say that the only thing that really looked the same was the kids' rooms?
Correct.
Did Ms. Chavez discuss with you anything about waiting on a bed?
She did tell me that that she had ordered a bed when I was there, and she also did provide the picture of the bed when she apparently when she got it. I did have a photo of it though. That is correct.
Okay, did she tell you that she had a blow-up mattress before?
No. No, ma'am.
There's been a lot of questions about mom's ability to get up here for visitation. Were there visits set up in November of 2025?
Correct, yes, ma'am.
Did St. Francis offer to transport Miss Chavez for those visits?
Yes, ma'am.
What did the offer entail to transport her here?
When that happens, we usually have transportation, either the transportation people in Houston, provide her with a ride up here, or, the people in Lubbock Amarillo area as well.
Were those dates set?
Yes, ma'am.
Was the transportation arranged?
I believe so, yes, ma'am.
And what happened?
They were canceled.
Who canceled them?
Nayeli.
And that's the mother, is that correct?
Correct.
Did she provide an explanation as to why she was canceling the visits?
I believe not comfortable being transferred to the area, or travel to the area.
Would it have been important for her to come see her children?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Now, Ms. Chavez testified regarding her conversations with the LPS worker, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And she testified that that she just saw the LPS worker yesterday, is that correct?
That's correct.
Did you receive a different report in regards to who dropped Ms. Chavez off at the home?
Yes, ma'am. I spoke with the LPS earlier today.
And what did she tell you?
The
I'm gonna object
LPS,
to hearsay, Your Honor.
Your Honor, Miss Lucero's asked Mom about conversations with the LPS worker. She's opened the door in regards to those reports.
But it was a conversation she had directly with her, Your Honor.
All right, I'm gonna give you just a little bit of leeway.
Oh,
Since,
that-
we're not in a final here, we're, but not too much.
I'll rephrase. Mr. Ryan, during the testimony today, Mom reported to you that it was a female cousin that dropped her off. Did you hear that testimony?
I did, yes, ma'am.
And is that information different than the information you received from the LPS worker?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did the testimony from Mom today appear not to be truthful?
I'm gonna
Correct.
object to speculation, Your Honor.
Sustained.
Sorry, Judge, I'm trying to cut this short without covering everything we've already covered.
That's fine.
I'll pass the witness. I'll let Miss Zavala.
Okay, Ms. Zavala?
Mr. Ryan, you said that you went to Ms. Chavez's home March 15th. Did Ms. Chavez know that you were coming?
No, ma'am.
Why was it important to you to do an unannounced visit?
So we can see more of we usually do those to see if it, like things that can't be planned or prepared, things like that. It's more of a natural environment, I would say.
Did you have concerns based on information you were receiving from the LPS visits?
Correct. Yes, ma'am, I did.
Is that why you wanted to go yourself and see what was happening?
That is correct.
What were the general concerns that you wanted to see for yourself?
I wanted to see who was really living there. I've heard mixed things, and I wanted to see if I would, go over there. I wanted to see the conditions of the home, obviously, as well. That's important. And if she had what she needed to have necessary for the children, things like that.
Had there been fears that she was not really living in the home that she was providing the address for?
Yes, ma'am.
And that she was actually living somewhere else, and therefore that's where the boys would be if they were returned?
Correct.
Um, after your visit on March 15th, did you believe that mom was living in the home?
I did not.
But she hasn't provided you any other location that she might be living in.
No, ma'am.
In the time that you have been on this case, has mom requested that St. Francis provide her transportation to visit her children?
No, ma'am.
Has mom been consistent with the statement that she could not attend visitation, she could not leave the area?
Yes, ma'am.
At any point, did you discuss with Ms. Chavez the concerns that she wasn't interacting with the children themselves during the visit?
No, ma'am.
Has anyone shared that concern with her?
I don't believe so. No, ma'am.
Were some of those concerns addressed at previous hearings?
Yes, ma'am.
And while it's very important to ask the caretakers information about the kids, is it also important that she try to interact with the kids as much as she can?
For sure. Yes, ma'am.
And that's difficult with the age of these kids, correct?
Absolutely.
Okay.
We understand that's very difficult and hard.
I pass witness.
Mr. Ryan, what did you see that day that made you think she's not living there?
There was no bed and no blow up mattress, no air mattress the day I went in there. It had me question if where she was sleeping. Because I don't know how long of a time the air mattress was out for. I don't know what how long she's been without a bed. It was just open space flooring. So that was a big concern for me.
But the children's beds were there, obviously.
The
you
chil-
took photos.
yes, ma'am.
Did you look in the closets and drawers? Did you see clothing?
I did see clothing for herself. Women clothing in particular this time when I went. For kids, no, I did not see. No.
Okay. But for her, my question was,
Yes, ma'am.
you saw females' clothing.
I did. Yes, ma'am. But yeah, like I said, but not for 3 people is also my concern.
Was there food in the refrigerator that day?
Yeah, there was.
Like anything, like fresh food, any kind of thing that, would have been purchased recently? Milk, bananas, apples?
I don't recall that, unfortunately, ma'am. I'm sorry.
Was anybody else present at the home when you got there?
No, ma'am. Just Nayeli.
Was she there when you arrived?
She was. Yes, ma'am.
And she
It-
didn't
it-
know you were coming?
No, ma'am. It did take a while for her to answer the door. Whether I was trying to knock on the glass door that she has. But other than that, it was just her.
Is there only one door?
There's a door and then there's a glass sliding door. I went into the glass sliding door that had the step ups to the actual RV.
Okay. Did you see anybody come out the other door?
I did not.
What's the concern, or what knowledge do you have that concerns you that she's not living there?
It's also who is really living there too. That's my concern. I've had conversations with the LPS, and the LPS has mentioned to me that she's seen men's clothing in there. Yesterday she saw a mail truck parked in front of the house, and then she left when the LPS arrived. Things like that. But these were all from the male toiletries, just male products in the house as well. And when the LPS had gone back, she had mentioned it to her. She had gone back. Those things, the LPS told me that they were removed. The next time she went to go see her, I believe she goes and sees her once a month. And she's only seen her roommates there once, from my knowledge. So
Okay, all right. All right. Anybody have any further questions for Mr. Ryan?
No, Judge.
Well, I just have a couple, because I know we've been running late. I just have a couple of clarification questions for him.
Sure.
Mr. Ryan, Ms. Powell had asked you earlier if it, about whether Anayeli was decorating, I guess she had a picture of her kids on that, I guess, like the wardrobe thing, like a closet. Do you recall that question?
I do. Yes, ma'am, I do.
Okay. Now the exhibits or pictures that you took and the one marked exhibit 10, it may not be that necessarily that wardrobe, but there was something that has like storage, maybe the kids' things, and then there's pictures of her boys there, right? And those.
Are you talking? What room are you referring to, ma'am? I'm sorry. Are you talking about the kids' room? Or are you talking about the which room are you referring to?
Okay, well, you had stated that that picture of the boys wasn't in her room or her and her cousin's room when you were there, right?
Yeah, I don't remember seeing that. No, ma'am.
Okay, all right then. But as far as, decorating after the fact, after you were there, in exhibit 10, while you were there on an unannounced visit, there's photos of her kids on exhibit 10. Is that right? And that might be the boys' room,
Right. Yes,
okay.
ma'am.
Okay. And so, all right. And again, just to be clear, it was an unannounced visit. She was there. Did you ever ask her, while you were there, like, where do y'all sleep? Did you ask her, hey, do y'all just make a pallet on the floor and y'all sleep on blankets like some people sometimes have to do?
I did ask her where she sleeps, and she pointed to her room, the master bedroom, as you would call it. And I went in there to inspect the room, and I didn't see any bedding or anything like that. No, ma'am.
But have you known folks that sometimes don't have a bed and just sleep on the floor on a pallet?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Who arranged the visit for November in 2025? Who set that up? Did y'all set it up here or did Houston set it up there?
I believe Mr. Heredia had set that up, as he was the caseworker during that time period.
All right then. Do you know, is it in your notes where I had asked for there to include me in communication due to, sometimes the language barrier, if anything got set up or things like that, to include me in an email? Is that in your notes anywhere?
I don't have that, but I can very well do that from here on out. Juan did speak Spanish. He was Spanish speaking.
Right. And the reason I ask is I never received that. I didn't know till after the fact that there was a visit that wasn't completed.
Yes, ma'am.
So if and I don't know what the judge is going to order today, but if she continues the kids in their current placement and there's a visit that's set up for Anayeli to come visit here or visit the kids in the Lubbock area, could you include me in the arrangements there, please?
Absolutely, yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'll pass the witness.
All right, anybody else have any questions for Mr. Ryan?
Just briefly, Judge. Ryan, did you see any bedding in that master bedroom?
I didn't.
Did you see any pallets on the floor?
I didn't.
Did you see any folded up blankets?
She did have blankets in a corner, all rolled up and stuff like that, yes.
Okay, and you didn't ask her about those?
I did not.
Okay, pass the witness.
Okay, anybody else? I kind of skipped over Mr. Barfield and Mr. Nowak because I don't think you got a dog in the fight here, but
Mr.
making sure.
Barfield has no questions.
Okay.
No questions, Judge. Thank you.
All right, then. Okay, Ms. Lucero, you have any additional witnesses?
No, Your Honor.
All right, do you rest?
I rest, Your Honor.
All right. Okay, Ms. Powell, any witnesses to call?
I don't think so, Judge. I rest.
Okay, Mr. Novak, Mr. Barfield, anybody?
No
Rest,
witnesses.
Judge.
Ms. Zavala?
No witnesses, Your Honor, I rest.
Okay. We also decided we go ahead and do permanency review today. Let me just ask Mr. Ryan, is there anything you need to add in the light of, just a permanency review that we haven't covered today? Is there any other new information or anything that you need to make me aware of?
I don't believe so at this time.
Okay.
No, ma'am.
We haven't talked a whole lot about kids, but I assume children are, other than children are doing fine where they're at, no concerns, no.
Yeah. No, ma'am. No concerns at all.
Okay. All right. Anybody else have anything they want to discuss or that they need to bring to my attention with respect to a review hearing?
In regards to
Ms.
the hearing, I don't believe so.
Okay. All right, Ms. Zavala, I'm gonna get your recommendation on, all of the above, so to speak, instead of bifurcating that, let's just cover all the ground at once.
Your Honor, first, the boys are doing very well. My biggest concern in all of this is that they've had very little substantive contact with mom in almost a full year. She is doing the virtual visits, but it is hard to connect with a 1 and 2-year-old online. It feels like she may be using that time in a way that she feels is more appropriate in terms of trying to get information about how they're doing. I think what we really need to see is, her reading to the kids, interacting with the kids, playing with the kids. And again, I know that is very difficult, but the purpose of it is for her to connect with those kids. At this point, I feel like they do not know her at all. I do understand that there are some real reasons why she may not have been able to visit, but at the same time, she's made several moves to different places. And it seems like at least one of those travel times could have been to see her kids. So I have concerns about that. I was concerned based on the reports that I was receiving about the LPS caseworker going and not feeling like she actually lived there and felt like somebody else lived there. I will say, when I look at Mr. Ryan's pictures, there is food there in the picture. There is stuff for the kids that's identified. There are beds for the kids. I do understand his concern about not having a bed there. But when I look at the actual pictures that were provided, it tells a slightly different story than the report. I do believe that there have been a lot of concerns about whether she was actually there. This seems to be some progress in that area. I do not feel like we've got enough information at this time. It looks like the counseling has just started. There may have been 3 or 4, but they're just kind of getting into the meat of the stuff. I know that the wave issues were going to be discussed at counseling. It looks like they haven't gotten into any of that, and it looks like they are just now developing any kind of connection. So it feels like we are now moving in the right direction with mom, but I do not feel comfortable, based on the information I have in front of me, to recommend a monitored return. I also do not feel comfortable moving the children from the placement that they've been at for this long. They are doing extremely well. And I haven't seen enough connection with mom to sever that connection that they do have, that has been their only stability at this point. I am not opposed to transferring the case to Harris County so that someone can be out there to really address these situations. It seems like if somebody could stop by on a regular basis, we would have these answers, and it feels like we're closer. But I don't feel comfortable, based on the information I have right now, to recommend moving the boys to a different location.
Okay. All right, for the moment, I'll say, I'm taking everything under advisement with respect to transfer, the monitored return, change of placement, all Mrs. Sarah's motion. I'll just tell you, as far as the review hearing order, which I'm gonna go ahead and render, and then I'll try to clarify, but we're gonna continue the department as temporary managing conservator, continue the children's placement for the moment, for now. I'm gonna find mother is in compliance with her family plan of service. We've struggled terribly to get providers and to get things set up in this case. So, if she's working, she has housing. Obviously, fathers are not in compliance. I'm not making a finding that there's continuing danger to the children because nobody's told me that they think there is. So I'm going to take the placement situation under advisement. And I'll let everybody know pretty quick about that, because we are running out of time. I remember at our last hearing, I remember talking about transfer. Should we maybe look at transferring this case? And, nothing happened. So, problem, we've got an absolute drop dead date right now of June 19th. So, it's very problematic to assume that we're going to find new placement for these kids if we go that route. Transferring the case to somebody, to a new court, new caseworkers, everybody, a couple months before the dismissal date is, let's just say it's more than problematic. So I'm going to think about this and what I think is the best way to handle all this. It may be no change. I don't know. I'm sitting here right now. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. So y'all are going to have to let me sleep on it and think about it. And I'll let you know here in the next day or two for sure. But as it stands right now, our next review hearing is April 9th. No,
Judge,
I'm
that-
sorry. I'm just reading. I'm sorry.
Oh.
It's been a long day. Our trial is June 16th of 2026. Forget April 9th. We're done with that. That's why we moved it to today. So, okay. So June 16th, 2026, that'll be on a 9 o'clock docket. Okay. I appreciate everybody's time and effort on this afternoon. And I just really, this is something I've just got to really think through carefully. And so I'll let everybody know as soon as I can. But should be in the next day or two.
Judge, can I have a brief breakout room with St. Francis before we log off? I won't stay long.
No, that's fine. All right, everybody else is free to go.
Thank you.
Thank you,
All
Judge.
right, I think you guys can all go back to room 2.
Yeah, we'll just go back to 2.
Okay.
Thank you, Judge.
Ms. Boyd, thank you so much. I appreciate you very much all day long. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
And Mr. Perales, thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Appreciate it.